My 28F family planned to skip my wedding because they hate the groom. 31 meters. I went to university as a mature student, started at 22. I took a few years between 6th form and uni because I had a baby, Teddy, currently 8 meters. In my second year of uni, when I was 23-24, I met Ryan, then 27 meters, who was hired as a lecturer. It was his first year of teaching anywhere, and I hated him at first. He was nervous and overcompensated by acting like a wanker, and I was not impressed. By my third, and final, year he eased up a lot and was genuinely nice. The turning point was when Teddy got sent home, and I emailed Ryan to say I'd be missing his lecture. He suggested I bring Teddy with me. He was only 4 at the time and very easily bored, and Ryan spent the lecture alternating between helping us and entertaining Teddy. Edit, to be clear, this was about 6 months of him acting like a wanker, and then a year and a bit of him being a genuinely great guy. This whole time, I was having regular phone calls with my parents. They noticed the shift from me ranting about Ryan every chance I got to singing his praises. A few months after I graduated, I ran into Ryan in a coffee shop, and invited him to sit with me and Teddy. We talked for a bit and I gave him my number. It was platonic for a few weeks, until he said that he hoped this wasn't too forward, but he'd asked a couple of hypothetical questions at the university, and if I wanted to date, then we would be allowed. I told him it was very forward, so he was lucky he's cute. I didn't tell my parents we were dating until a few months in, which is also when Ryan officially told the university, and about 6 months after my graduation. We've now been together 2 years. We've been the butt of a few jokes, which we've been fine with, but my parents and siblings immediately came down hard on Ryan, due to how we met, and what I told them about Ryan throughout his first year of teaching. They also seemed to think that when I started being nice about him in 3rd year was when things began with us. We've made clear to everyone that he's not really a wanker, how the timeline works, and Ryan has done his best to impress them. They've even grilled Teddy over his feelings on Ryan, and tried to feed him answers. I have shut this down, but their feelings towards Ryan remain mostly negative. Ryan proposed at New Year's, with Teddy's help. I said yes. We're planning the wedding, and when I asked my mother for help out with the guest list regarding my family, she said not to bother as no one wants to come, including her, dad, and my siblings. The only person likely to come is my brother, 32 meters, but that's it for my whole extended family, solely because they don't like Ryan. Is there anything that can be done at this stage? Something we can do, on our end, to get them to come? Is this the point where I should just give up and tell the lot of them to F off? Have you talked to or invited other members of your family, or are you just taking your mother at her word? My siblings, which is how I know only my brother will be attending, and I messaged dad but no response yet. I guess there's 2 issues. Your family's issues with your partner, are they legitimate? I've seen a lot of inappropriate academic relationships. This one doesn't rate on the creepometer. Seriously. So they can really only resent him for being a professor you didn't like. I feel like it's very strange that their resentment outlived yours. What can you do about your wedding? Not much. You can tell your parents that you would really appreciate them coming, because it's a big deal for you. But they presumably already know that. This behavior is pretty weird. Do they just dislike him for the reasons you've described in this post? This is the sort of thing I'd expect with bigotry or real problems in your relationship. Any chance you left out that your family are a bunch of racists and Ryan's not one of their preferred colors? Or that whenever you're out together he abuses you or your son, and your family is concerned? Because those would make this make a lot more sense. Basically, the only way your family's conduct makes sense is if your partner is abusive, controlling, problematic, with you or your son, and you're somehow blind to it. Which can happen over a long relationship with power dynamics. I would sit down with one or both of your parents, just you and them, and ask them what their problem with Ryan is. Their refusal to attend the wedding is way beyond my daughter is marrying a jerk and I don't like him territory. Okay, so how exactly did he act in his wanker phase? Elsewhere, Op said, I was not kind to Ryan early on. He went off early on about not accepting excuses or tolerating laziness. He expected us to email him if we missed a lecture, and when we did he sent snarky emails back. and he was very harsh with his assignment feedback, all of which I ranted to my parents about, as I felt he was on a power trip. However, it later became clear that he felt that, given his age and lack of experience, he had to come in very strong in order to get respect, and when we brought up our issues with him, he immediately dialed it way back. If I was you, I wouldn't take my mother's word for it that everyone agrees with her, because people often pretend to agree to avoid an argument. Send the invites out regardless and make people decline themselves. Don't let your mother decline on their behalf. But of course don't invite your mother because, 1, she's already said not to, and 2, then she won't know exactly when the invites are going out and she's less able to sabotage it by calling people and telling them not to go. You live your life. They will either come around or they won't. It sounds like you really had a lot of negative things to say about him right away. What were you saying to them? I've had professors that I didn't like, but I never complained about them enough that other people would remember anything. It's hard for people to forgive someone else for hurting a loved one even if he's different now, as you've said. Should I F22 invite my parents to my graduation? We haven't spoken in 5 years. At 14 years old, I found out I was pregnant. I wasn't even in high school yet, and I was terrified. At 15, I gave birth to my daughter who is now 7. I moved out my house at 17 and moved in with my boyfriend because of how unstable my parents and I's relationship was. Every single person around me told me I wasn't going to graduate high school. I did. Once I did graduate high school, it was followed by them not thinking I could go to college. Well, in 3 weeks I'm graduating with my bachelor's degree. I haven't spoken to my parents in 5 years. I just started distancing myself from them after moving in with my boyfriend until all communication between us ceased. I've been thinking about it, inviting them. I keep thinking about it. Do you want to try and rebuild a relationship with them? How did they deal with you in that time? Were they supportive or did they cut you out of their lives? Honestly, some days I do, some days I don't. They're my parents and sometimes I miss that parent bond, but then I remind myself that our relationship really sucked. They didn't cut me off, but our relationship was 95% filled of arguing, wasn't good at all. Firstly, huge congrats, that's a massive achievement and hope you're proud of yourself. Secondly, if it were me I'd be wanting to share such a lovely event with the people who have supported me and been there for me, not 2 people who washed their hands of me and weren't there for me when I needed them most. Your call obviously, and it might be that you want to rebuild your relationship with them. If that's the case, they don't need to be at your graduation to do that. You owe them nothing and it doesn't matter what they think of you. Best of luck, op. First off, you're very strong. Raising your daughter, graduating high school and now college. You've overcome a lot. About your parents, it sounds as though you're not sure if you want to reconnect. What would be the best case? If your parents welcomed you back with open arms, would you be comfortable getting closer to them? And on the flip side of the coin, what's the worst that could happen? Guilt trips, histrionics and insults. If I were in your shoes, I'd probably send them a picture of you at graduation, and stay no contact. Thank you smile. If I choose not to, maybe post it on Facebook. Not an avid Facebook poster at all, but I know my parents and older relatives are. Scrolling through their timeline and seeing their daughter graduate would be so shocking to them. No, don't do it. Yes, you messed up at 14, but you pulled yourself together. The number 1 person responsible for a 14-year-old is said person's parents. You pulled yourself through high school. They didn't believe in you then. And then you got into college and made it through, while raising a kid. Serious props to you for making it. Sounds to me like you came from a dark place and pulled yourself out the mud. Why would you put that mud back on your gown? Family is anyone stands by you through good and bad. Send them a card with a graduation announcement. Have the announcement include a photo of you in your cap and gown, with your daughter and boyfriend standing by your side. Don't write anything on it other than graduated magna cum laude with a BS. In underwater basket weaving from University of blah 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 on 32nd of May, 2021. If you're feeling froggy, you could also include something like, following her gradation, u/Throw has accepted a position with Aflac as head goose counter in Antarctica and will be accompanied the future Mr. u/Throw and their daughter. This way, you let them know but get to keep your graduation day about you. It puts the ball in their court to reach out and congratulate you, while also not so subtly thumbing your nose at them and proving that you did it. Congrats on your accomplishments! Exclamation mark. Friend reacted oddly strongly to my girlfriend getting into a road rage incident. I'm not sure if his overreaction is something I should be suspicious of or not. My 22M girlfriend, 21F, got into a road rage incident on her way home from work yesterday. I was having a beer with a friend, 24M, when she came home, pretty upset and shaken up. Nothing outright illegal happened. Basically this guy was tailgating her, he passed her up and flipped her off, and when they were both at the same light he leaned out of his car window and called her a stupid BTCH, CNT, etc. She got it all on camera. She pulled out her phone camera once he started driving aggressively. After she told us this and showed us the video, I calmed her down, gave her a glass of wine, told her to go relax and take a shower to relax. I feel really bad that this happened to her, and I wish it hadn't. Assholes are assholes and they're all around us, so this shit happens sometimes. My friend who was over, though, got really angry. He was cursing, calling this guy a piece of shit, really flipping out. He asked my girlfriend to send him the video and then he left. I guess my friend showed the video to some friends who were cops in town, and this guy ends up getting ticketed for reckless driving, a tail light out, and an expired registration. I'm glad this guy got screwed over. What I'm worried about is my friend's insane overreaction. I was under the impression him and my girlfriend were casual acquaintances at best. But the way he flipped out after this happened, getting so mad at it and then within 3 hours making sure this guy got ticketed, make me wonder if he has deeper feelings for her. Am I overthinking this? ETA, he's made small side comments about how attractive my girlfriend is, I'm a lucky man, etc. He texted her this morning seeing how she was doing. He was my friend first, my girlfriend met him and I on the same night out. Second edit, she doesn't feel better because of what he did. Him flipping out made her anxiety a lot worse, and now she's terrified to drive because she thinks the guy who was yelling at her is going to be looking for revenge. She said that the guy knows what she looks like, and what her car looks like, but not my buddies. She didn't know he was going to show the video to the cops and get him pulled over. We both spent an hour outside today scraping the bumper stickers off of her car because she's afraid it'll help him identify her. So what if he is madly in love with her? Sucks for him, but if he hasn't overstepped any boundaries and knows how to keep his feelings in check, then what's the issue? As a girl, I'd probably react the same way, no matter who the friend is. This kind of thing can get very dangerous very fast, and it's very good that the man is facing actual consequences for his actions. You said yourself he has cop friends and you don't. That puts him in a situation where he can provide a different kind of help. You provided the emotional and physical support to your girlfriend, while he provided the karmic support to the road rage that jerk deserved. I don't think that was over or underreacting on either your side or his, and I don't see how it would affect your girlfriend's feelings toward each of you, unless you genuinely believe she's so shallow and your relationship is so tenuous that this incident would be enough to undermine her feelings for you while boosting her connection with your friend/her acquaintance enough to make him some sort of threat to the relationship.